Welcome back to the Midlife Reset Podcast, episode number 33. I'm your host, Cheryl Gordon. Today, we're diving into something every midlife woman has experienced. Mood swings, irritability, that sudden sense of, I can't believe I just snapped like that. Now, I want you to know, it isn't just in your head. It's real, physiological, and completely normal. Hormones, stress, sleep, even nutrition all play a role in how we feel in midlife. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why your mood shift, what's happening in your brain and body, and most importantly, some practical ways to regain control and feel calmer, protect your mental well-being. So let's start with your hormones. Those are like invisible puppeteers. Around our 40s or 50s, estrogen and progesterone start to fluctuate even more wildly than normal. The ovaries are slowing down. Estrogen is more than just a reproductive hormone. It affects your serotonin, sometimes known as the feel-good hormone or the let me try that again, happiness hormone. It's a neurotransmitter. Lower estrogen can mean lower serotonin, which can trigger anxiety, irritability, sadness, or that general feeling. So if you're feeling scattered, more anxious than you used to, or just plain cranky, it's probably because the uptake of serotonin is lower. And we're definitely more vulnerable to stress in general without that kind of cushion. Progesterone, on the other hand, is like the chill hormone. It helps regulate mood and calm the nervous system. It even supports sleep. So when progesterone drops, you can feel more anxious and tense and snappier than usual. I know when my progesterone levels tanked in perimenopause, sleep became almost impossible overnight. So we need progesterone to signal the production of melatonin, which helps us feel sleepy. The relaxation nerves don't get the signaling they need to cue relaxation if progesterone is low. And don't forget cortisol, the stress hormone. Last week, we discussed this glucocorticoid compound in more detail. You may want to refer back to episode 32 if you haven't listened yet. We talked all about stress and hormones and weight gain, and it was good stuff. So cortisol rises when we're tired, when we're overwhelmed or stressed, and it works hand in hand with your sex hormones to influence your mood. High cortisol plus fluctuating estrogen and progesterone, that is a recipe for emotional turbulence. And isn't that how we feel, girlfriend, in midlife? Like we're on some crazy roller coaster and some sadist somewhere has the stick shift? To add insult to injury, all the running around we did to keep everyone else happy and safe created a lot of stress for us. And this constantly stimulated the adrenals to pump out that cortisol. Let's see, does it sound familiar? Rushing around to get the kids on time, creating a perfect holiday memory for a family of 18, worrying all day at work about your sick neighbor. All that kind of stuff, which we all did, wears those little adrenal glands right out. So when we get to midlife, the adrenals, which should be taking up a little of the slack with the estrogen progesterone thing, they're dead. They're offline. It's what some healthcare practitioners call adrenal fatigue. They're just not responsive anymore. The mood swings you are feeling, they are not a character flaw. They're a signal that your body is trying hard to adjust to these new hormonal realities. So here's the big takeaway. Hormones do their own thing. You don't have to direct them. That's true. And that's when we feel like we're on the crazy train ride. But wait for it. As a human with a super brain, you have the ability to wrest control back from that automatic pilot. Now, all the magazine articles and wellness experts advise us to, eat carefully, exercise more, and meditate. But what I find is they don't explain exactly how, why, and really what to do. Those old habits are really hard to change, right? How many times have we set those New Year's goals and given up after a few weeks? So let's dive into what you can start now. The small steps and very simply, and move towards a better mood and sharper focus. Now, shaping hormonal responses in everyday life means paying attention to your everyday habits. Yep, it's that lifestyle stuff again. Things like sleep, movement, and nutrition. They can either amplify the mood swings or help you to ride them more smoothly. So let's break them down. First, sleep. Poor sleep disrupts your hormones even further. It also lowers serotonin and makes cortisol spikes worse. So, feeling cranky after a night of tossing and turning, that's your brain on low serotonin and high cortisol. Changing habits is super hard when you're running on empty. So stay tuned. We'll talk more strategies around this. We also have other podcasts where we lay out sleep strategies, and I'll talk about my sleep solutions course in a few minutes. The second aspect to this lifestyle is movement. We're not talking about taking up marathon running here. We're talking about gentle exercise, like a little bit of yoga, a walk around the block. Or, yeah, I'm big on the strength training, doesn't have to be complicated. But these kinds of movements boost your endorphins, which help balance your mood. 15 minutes can start the process, and most busy lifestyles can find 15 spare minutes. The big key is consistency, setting up something that you can repeat, that you look forward to repeating, that's not exhausting when you're already running on empty. So pick something you like, put it in your calendar, and keep the date with yourself religiously. The third aspect of lifestyle is nutrition. Now, it's not to say that we can never enjoy chocolate. I mean, let's not get silly about this. But we need to really find foods that are rich in protein, healthy fats, and fiber. This magic combination stabilizes our blood sugar. Stable blood sugar prevents mood swings that are fueled by glucose spikes and crashes. Goodness knows I get hangry if I don't eat at my appropriate times. And grabbing a candy bar or even a healthy granola bar, do you notice that's in air quotes? Most granola bars are very rich in sugar. This is not a substitute for a properly balanced fuel of protein, healthy fats, and fiber. Midlife, us women are particularly sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations. You don't imagine that. And we have a lot of issues with insulin. It ties into the stress we've been under and the loss of our sex hormones. So this means prioritizing planning your food, not running on empty. So many of us are busy and don't have time to eat. It's almost a badge of honor to say, I skipped lunch today. Sometimes we cut out essential nutrients. We can't have carbs or something. We were trying to cut calories to lose weight. Bad plan. So really prioritizing that protein, healthy fat, and fiber every time you open your gob. You know what I'm saying? Fourth and final lifestyle thing I want to talk about is mindfulness and stress reduction. You can look at breathing exercises, meditation, journaling. And again, we're not talking about, being a monk on a mountaintop here. 5 minutes, 5 minutes a day is enough to start shifting the needle. You will lower your cortisol. You will directly improve your emotional resilience. Now, your mindfulness won't inspire your husband to change his sloppy ways. It won't automatically make your boss pleasant to be around. It won't make your kids call. But it can shift how your body responds to these stressors, and that will shift the hormones. See, it's all connected. Sleep better, eat smarter, move mindfully, and your mood swings will start to soften. Now, let's look at making this happen in your life as your life is now. Because I can't, like I said, fix your husband, fix your boss, fix your kids, but we can work on ourselves in the moment now. And I don't want to make any grandiose plans or resolutions that are just going to be abandoned at the roadside in a week or two. We've all been down that road, the dramatic road, do all the things. Now, here are 5 quick tools that build a healthier lifestyle right now. And my suggestion is that you pick one and just one of these and work on it till it becomes more habitual. This might take 3 days or it could take 3 weeks. We're all coming at this from different angles. I did mention earlier that habits are hard to change when we're super tired. The brain simply does not have the resources to process change when they're stressed. So our first strategy should be to choose a tool here of this 5 that will be easy for you and will help you feel more rested. And then you can cope with the stressors in your life. So which one of these 5 tools do you think will make the biggest impact and will be the easiest to adopt right now? First tool, mindful check-in. This is a tool we're going to practice right together right now in just a second. It takes 3 minutes. And again, the busiest lifestyles can probably fit in 3 minutes. And so all we have to do here is just notice our mood without judgment. Name the emotion that we're feeling, like I feel frustrated or I feel anxious. Labeling the emotions actually calms the brain's amygdala and gives you space to respond and not react. So let's practice the 3-minute breathing space. There's lots of mindfulness snacks that you could choose. I'm only offering this one option. Now, if you're driving while you listen to this podcast, you don't want to close your eyes, but you could probably still do the technique as long as it won't distract you too much from your driving. For the rest of us, if you want to, you could close your eyes or just look at something boring for a minute. And literally, this will take only 3 minutes. So we begin by checking in with our body. And while we're in probably a seated or perhaps a lying down position, starting to notice how you feel, your feet, your legs, your hips, your back, your belly, your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your head. Noticing any tightness or tension, any discomfort you're experiencing, just noticing it. Noticing what your energy level feels like, what your mood is like right now, labeling it like we talked about. Noticing the kinds of thoughts that are in your brain without trying to change them or being, all zen. Good. And then for the second minute of the practice, we shift gears just a little bit. Some people find it helpful to place a hand on the lower belly. We're going to zero in our attention on breathing here. So we're breathing as best we can in and out through the nose, inhaling and exhaling at our natural pace, and noticing if there's any movement in the body as you breathe. When we're in a more relaxed, mindful state of mind, there will be a little bit of an expansion of the belly, kind of like a balloon inflating, and then a corresponding deflation as you exhale. We're not trying to push our stomach around. We're just noticing the natural reaction to our body shape as we breathe in and we breathe out. And as best as you can, you're focusing on the next 2 breaths in exactly that way. Perfect. Now, while maintaining like a little bit of attention there on the movement of breath, slowly expand out your focus like a lens on a camera, opening up to the wide angle, taking your whole body again. Noticing your physical body, noticing your mood, noticing the pace and pulse of your thinking. Just being really present with your experience exactly as it is. And before we finish this quick 3-minute mindfulness snack, label with whatever words seem appropriate how you're feeling now, how your mood is now. And then resuming your position, opening your eyes if you did have your eyes closed, and just making note. How did that mindfulness snack, how did the 3-minute breathing space help you to shift your mood? That did not take very long. Now, again, consistency is really important. Practicing this kind of technique, if it's the one you choose to tackle first, regularly throughout the day. If you wait until you're really upset with your husband or your boss or your kids, you've lost the opportunity to regulate your mood. You're already into survival mode. The cortisol is spiked too high. You got to practice this to reset your hormones so you get that resiliency. So in the biz, we say prophylactically, you're going to practice that tool. So maybe that's the tool you're going to choose to start with. You can get to all 5 of these tools eventually, but I do recommend one at a time. Tool number 2, breath work. I won't bore you with all the science behind breathing, but trust me, there's a lot. But I want to try this breathing method with you now. It's very, very simple and it takes less than a minute. Again, even the busiest girl can fit this into her day. And again, like with the mindfulness snack, the breathing technique is best if you practice it regularly throughout the day. It can be done anywhere, anytime, even if you're driving. And it will help to reset your hormones at a consistent basis throughout the day. It's like if the doctor gave you some medication and say it's insulin, for example, and you need to have a steady supply of insulin in your body in order to stay alive or healthy. If you only loaded it up once a week or even once a day, you're going to have a lot of dips and valleys, which would be really hard on your body. But if you do these little tools regularly throughout the day, it keeps you on a steady dose of resiliency and evenness. All right, breath work. Again, let's try this together. This is a very interactive episode. You can close your eyes or not, whatever's safe for you to do. I would like, if you could right now, inhale through your nose, and then when you think your lungs are full, try to inhale a little bit more, and then exhale, sigh it out the mouth. Let's do that 2 more times together. Inhale, a little bit more. Ah, yeah. So this double inhale massages the heart a little bit extra, which really signals your nervous system that it's safe to relax a little bit. Did you feel the hit from that? That might be your favorite tool. But let's move on to tool number 3, movement. I love movement. A short walk outside, even around the block, a gentle yoga stretch can shift the cortisol, boost your serotonin, reset your mood. I really think sunlight exposure early in the day helps regulate melatonin for better sleep. There's a podcast for that earlier in our series. Even 15 minutes a day of mindful movement is enough to be effective. We talked about that earlier. So let's try, again, very interactive episode here, a couple quick stretches with me right now. If you're driving, might not be safe to do this, but you can try it when you get home or to your destination. If you're seated on your couch or in an office chair, you don't have to get up. If you're standing or out for a walk, you can do this from a standing position. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to sit up really tall or stand up really tall, take an inhale, and as you exhale, angle your body off to one side. We call this half moon stretch in yoga. Inhale back up and exhale, relax your arms. Inhale, take the other arm up, exhale, angle to the other side. Now, if I were doing this, I would probably do 3 to each side. The next thing I'd like to do is place my hands on my thighs. And as I inhale, stretch up tall, heart lifted. Exhale, round out your back, kind of like a cat stretching, tuck the belly back. Inhale, stretch out tall. Exhale, round your back. And again, I would do that for about 3 breaths if I was doing this myself to reset my hormones. And the last little quick movement I'd like to do is to sit up really tall or stand up really tall as you inhale. And as you exhale, twist and look over one shoulder. Inhale, come back to center, and exhale, twist and look over the other shoulder. And I would do that about 3 times to each side. So just evaluate for yourself if you were working along with me in those little stretches. Do you feel slightly refreshed? Do you feel like there's a little bit more blood circulating? Yeah, so that's really giving you that hormonal reset. And it only takes maybe 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes to do that. This is something you can do at your desk, when you're on an airplane, when you're on a long car ride, when you're out for a walk. It can go with you where you go. So you don't need a whole full yoga practice with candles and incense and chanting. Not that that isn't lovely. That's what I sell. But you can repeat these kinds of resets regularly throughout your day. All right, tool number 4, being aware of your blood sugar. My mom always used to say, I can tell when your blood sugar's low because you're a cranky kid. So I guess I'm particularly sensitive this way, always have been. It's getting worse as I get older. So this is why you have to eat protein. Every time you open your mouth, protein goes in, along with that blend of healthy fats and fiber. Keeping your blood sugar stable stabilizes your mood, quite frankly. Midlife women often overlook this, but it makes a huge difference. Research is suggesting that an active midlife woman might need 90 grams or more of protein per day. So I like to try to find whole food sources rather than just relying on protein drinks or supplements. I do take a protein powder every day, but I try to get more whole food sources of protein. So lovingly feeding your body makes your nervous system very happy. Mindful eating is a great practice. I have a free guide that will get you started. I'll put more information about that later, and there'll be a link in our show notes. So really planning and really feeding yourself carefully. Self-compassion. This is tool number 5. Now, if people heard the vicious commentary that's running in my head some days, I mean, you would truly be shocked. I can really be mean to myself. Now, during my weight loss in 2024, and when I was developing the She Mindfulness program, I learned to recognize and reframe a lot of that self-critical thinking. And you know what I found really helped? Do it together, like I said, interactive episode, and try it before you dismiss it as inconsequential. Again, this takes a few seconds, really. I like to place my left hand over my heart, fan out the fingers a little bit, take the right hand, place it over top, and let the tips of both thumbs touch. Now, if it's safe for you to take your hands off the wheel of your car, you can do this. Otherwise, don't do that. But if you're out walking, you can always stop for a second. Sometimes it's nice to close your eyes here, dip your chest or chin a little bit towards your chest, and then say something comforting to yourself, like you would talk to a small child or a pet who is upset. There, lovey, or it's okay, everything's fine, or something like that. I know it sounds really basic, but just try it for just a second. There, all's okay. It's all right. Just like you would to a small child or pet. Yeah, okay. So those are your 5 tools. Remember, you're only going to choose one and work on that until it becomes habitual. Here's an important mindset shift. You can start with this. Mood swings are not a weakness. They're your body talking to you. They're asking for rest. They're asking for movement. They're asking for nutrition. They're asking for emotional care. If we listen instead of resisting, we can reduce those mood swings in frequency and intensity. Maybe you're familiar with the famous teacher Pema Chodron. She says that what we resist will keep coming back to visit us until we let it in. Some of my teachers say what we resist persists. So think of it like tuning an instrument. Hormones, stress, and lifestyle factors are like the strings, and when one is off, everything sounds discordant. With attention and mindfulness and practical strategies, you can bring yourself back into tune. So today we talked about why midlife mood swings happen, the role of hormones and things like cortisol, and those simple 5 tools to help you start feeling steadier and happier now. If you're ready to take the next step, I have a free mindful eating guide that pairs beautifully with these strategies, helping you to nourish your body without stress or guilt. It's about small, kind, consistent steps, perfect for busy midlife women. There's also the Sleep Solutions video course. It costs $19. It expands on some of these self-care tools and gives you guidance what to do in the middle of the night when you're experiencing sleeplessness. You can find the link to both of those in the show notes. And if this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend who might need a little extra support. And subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode of this Midlife Reset. Remember, your moods don't define you, but the way you respond to them can empower you to thrive through midlife and beyond. I will see you next week, and we'll keep the conversation going. What if you were to feel lighter, sleep better, and get more energy? Join me in a 1-hour masterclass on November 2nd to learn 5 simple and effective steps to reset your body and mind for midlife. You don't need quick fixes. You don't need extreme routines. I'll be giving you all of the information in this masterclass. You can register on my website, so check the show notes for the address. See you next week.